After successful upload of previous video, now we are back to learn the further remaining web pages of the Geek for Geek in JavaScript curriculum. So let's begin by opening our Firefox, tiling it to left side, searching for geeksforgeek.org. We are learning JavaScript right now. We have already covered the basic overview of JavaScript. We have discussed until the const keyword. Now time to discuss the flow statements. No one has told me that you are having trouble to read the statement, but still what I'm gonna do is to enlarge the Firefox window as well as enlarging the text as well, so you guys can read it well over your smaller window, smaller phones, etc. So without further any delay, I hope you are using the jump cutter extension in order to fasten this video automatically where I am silent, so you don't have to hear me my mumbling at very slow speeds. I know I speak very slow in English. Let's begin with a return statement. The JavaScript return statement. The return statement is used to stop the function execution and optionally return a value to the caller. Optionally return a value to the caller. Okay. When a return statement is encountered, one second, let me slow down the music. Okay. When the return statement is encountered, the function stops running and output the specified value, allowing the function to pass data back. It can be used to return specific value, variable, or expression. If no value is provided, the function returns the undefined by default. Okay, let's see. So we have a function that takes two parameter a and b. It returns the multiple of both parameter. So 6 and 10 equals to 60. Here we can see. Okay. Returning multiple values using an object. So the first object, second object, third object. Return first, second, third. Actually, we declaring a function without any parameters in it. Then we are declaring three variables with their unique values, and then we are returning all the three variables as output. So if we pass the function, then it will automatically console first, second, and third, which will HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so we are actually declaring all three at once is equal to language function. Okay, let first, second, and third be language function, which consoles to language, then first, language, and second, and third. Okay. Conclusion. Return statement is crucial for returning values from function in JavaScript. It enables function to output single or multiple values, enhancing flexibility and reusability. Proper use of return helps structure clean and maintainable, efficient code in application. Actually, only coding doesn't matter. Writing efficient code, reusable and maintainable code should be the norm and must be mandatory. I have written many code in Python and am very not sure that those codes are maintainable. So now I can understand the value of writing a maintainable code. What does it means? And these things automatically come by time. You don't have to just try to write the maintainable code from the first day. You can iterate over and over again and you will automatically learn how to write maintainable code. Let's play quiz. Quiz me. I'm not sure how I can enlarge the ChatGPT font, but for sure I will narrate the questions as well the answer that I will be writing. So first question says, what does the return statement do in JavaScript function? Exits the function and optionally returns a value. Yes, it does that. So the answer of one would be 1 ka A. Answer of second would be true or false. The return statement in JavaScript can only return primitive data types, number and string. No, I think that would be no. Because the return value must or can return objects, which is not a primitive data type. And the third answer, short answer, describe briefly what happens if a function in JavaScript does not explicitly have a return statement. Um, it will output a boolean. As per I think, it will just says true or false. Let's see. Correct, incorrect, and partially correct. What was correct? The return statement does exit the function and can return a value. The correct answer is false because the return statement can return various types, including objects, arrays, functions, in addition to primitive data type. By the way, I just said that. Let me re-verify my answer. True or false? The return statement in Java can only return. So I said B. Oops, I should have said false. No problem. Actually, I was right in my heart and my soul. So, partially correct. If a function does not have return statement, it implicitly return undefined. It does not output a boolean. This I have to copy it and save it to my notes, which I am taking through VS Code. Here is my notes. I will certainly link that note in the description. It will be going to be constantly updated as we are going forward to this series. Okay, ready for next set of questions? Yes. What will be the output of the following code? We are defining a function test in which we are returning 5 with no parameter. If we are console logging, then the answer would be a 5. But here our question is, would it be a string or would it be a number? So as we have just learned that the output or the return of a function can be any primitive data type, I feel like it would be A, as the output should be a number. 1 ka A. Second, true or false, you can use multiple return statement in a single function. Nope. Unless it is if else statement. Unless if it is a if else statement. Next, third, short answer, what will happen if you use return statement inside a loop? Can we use a return statement inside a loop? If we can, then it will certainly reiterate it. It will reiterate the results. Let's see. First is correct, second is incorrect, and third is partially correct. Let's see. The output of the code will indeed be 5 because the function returns the value 5, and as the declared wait a second, can I increase its font size too? Sorry, I can't. Sorry. I can't. So the output of code will indeed be A because the function returns the value of incorrect. The statement is true. You can use multiple return statement in single function. However, once return is executed, the function will exit and any subsequent return statement will not be executed. Okay, then what's the point of entering or using multiple return statements? I think if we are dealing with cases. Okay. Then third is, if you use return statement inside a loop, it will exit the function entirely at that point, not just iterate. The loop will not continue after the return is executed. Okay. Okay. Ready for more questions? Yes, I do feel like I need more questions on this particular topic. Suppose we are declaring a new function which returns console.log hello, console.log example function. Mm, we are nesting a console.log within a console.log. What will happen? It will suddenly output a string and it will, I think it should give an error. Yes, I am sure that it will give an error. So the answer to the first will be D. And incorrect. Okay, the answer is B, undefined. The function does not log hello because the return statement exists the function before the line is reached. Okay. Okay, actually it's not the test of the nested logic. It because the return comes before the console.log, it exists the function as soon as it reaches the second statement. Okay. Second, I actually didn't answer this one, but it was a function, true or false. A function can return a value even if it's defined to not return anything. But correct answer, a function can technically return without a value which defaults to undefined. And third, short answer, what happens if a function has return statement with no value? That is just return. A statement with no value causes the function to exit and return undefined. Would you like to continue? Yes, I would like to continue, and certainly next time I will answer all the questions. What will the code output? Function add a comma b, return a plus b, console.log add 3 comma 4. And because we can see that 3 comma 4s are number, then certainly it will add, as the return statement guides to add the parameters entered in the function. So the answer would for the first would be A. And I can see now my enter is working for sending the address. I don't know how these, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. No problem. You can return multiple values to JavaScript function. Yes, we can. Thank God, this time ChatGPT is asking me to answer the remaining question. Okay. So answer for the second is yes. And answer for third would be short answer. In what scenario which uses return function in a statement to exit the function and getting an output as a result. Let's see. The correct answer is false. You cannot return multiple separate values. Okay, but you can return an array that contains multiple values. Okay, I see. You mention a return statement to exit the function and get an output. That's true. Additionally, you might use it to provide a result from a calculation or determine the outcome of a function based on certain condition. Okay. Ready for more questions? Exactly. What will be the result of the following code? First is null, undefined, zero, or undefined. uh, as we know that the function defaults to undefined, so the answer for the one first would be B. Second would be function that has return statement will always return. No, it's an optional thing that, so it means it would be false. And third answer for the third would be short answer. What is difference between return and simply reaching the end of function? The return guides to the termination of function, whether it has reached its end or not. Correct, correct, partially correct. Correct is undefined. A function does not return a value, so it defaults to undefined, as you just said. The answer is false. A function can reach end without a return statement, in which case it will return undefined by default. Okay, and you noted that the reach returns and termination of function, which is true. However, the key difference is that return can specify a value to return, while simply reaching the end, the function returns undefined. Okay. Should I continue for the more question? Yes. Please give me subscribers so I can be alive and read the comments somewhere. So should I continue or not? I can answer it for you, or I can get the answer from you. Never mind. What will be the following code output? Function check value x. If x is greater than 10, return greater than 10, then else return 10 or less. Okay, check value 5. It is not sent, then this return value will pass 10 or less. So the answer for the first would be B. Answer for the second would be true or false. The return statement can be used to return a function from another function. Okay, return a function from another function. Return a function from another function. Nested function. A nested function, of course. We can pass the another function as a return statement. And third, can you use return statement to end a function early based on a condition? Yes, exactly. Correct, correct, partially correct. The output will be 10 or less because the value passed 5 is not greater. For the final you can return a function and the first often referred to a higher order function. And Pasha, you indicated yes, so it would be helpful to explain that you can use return within an if statement to exit early, which allows you to execution based on specific criteria. Good. Now enough for the return statement. Let's move to break statement. This function, actually the name of this function reminds me of a song from the Pink Floyd called One of These Days, from the movie, from the album Medal, which consists of a single line. One of these days, I'm gonna break you into little pieces. So, start. What is a break statement? Terminate execution of loop or switch statement when the condition is true. In the switch, code breaks out, execution of code is stopped. In a loop, it's break out the loop, but the code after loop is executed. Okay, only a loop or switch can be the example. Suppose break label name. Okay. So here is apple. We say apple is healthy. Then we run to LB and then we hit break. Okay. If I is equal to 4, then break. Okay. Only the first three things are gonna be printed. Break statement can is used while and do while loop. Okay. I is equal to 1. I is less than equal to 5. 1 second. What we are doing here is I is equal to 1. Okay. When jab tak while until I is less than or equal to 5 console.log I, and if I is equal to 3 break. और I में इंक्रीमेंट करते रहना है. We have to increment the I. Then let j is equal to 1, do console.log j if j is equal to 3 while break. So we are doing the same things here and here, but while j is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so here we are defining the condition here, and in this case we are defining the condition here. Okay, because these two are different kind of loops. It is a while loop and it is a do while loop. So it is the form of speaking in words of Yoda. Do this while this. And it is the simple common statement. While it is true, do this. Okay. And here we finish our break statement. Let's have a quiz over break statement as well. Multiple choice question. In JavaScript, what is the purpose of break statement? To terminate or switch? Exactly. First answer of first would be A. Answer of second would be a break statement can only be used within loops. Yes. Answer of third would be describe a scenario where you would use break statement in JavaScript. एक scenario to break out of a function out of case. The breaks can also be used switch statement, not within just loop. Okay, the case statement we are talking about is also known as switch statements. Sorry. Your response is on right track. A more precise scenario using the break statement to exit a switch case when match is found or to stop a loop when condition is met. Which of the following loop will be break statement will terminate? All of the above. Correct. The break statement can terminate all of the following: for, while and do while. Fifth, if a break statement is used inside a nested loop, it will only terminate the innermost loop. Nested loop. Yes, that's correct. The break statement can only terminate the innermost loop which is placed, not any outer loops. Now move to next question. Short answer. What will happen if a break statement is encountered inside a switch statement? It will break the case. It will break the switch if the case is true. We will do the 10 question. Okay, 3 more questions. This is the 7th one. Which is the following is the correct way? Break, break to, break loop, break condition. I think we can simply pass the break. Okay, the chat GPT is going to give us only 7 question. So this time you guys win. And now we are moving to the next topic. Continue statement. As per name, I think it is something about related to skipping the statement and continuing to the next. Something like the finally statement that we have just learned in Python, that I learned in Python. I'm very sorry that I didn't share that with you. Okay, so let's continue here. For let I is equal to 0 and I is less than 11, increment the I. If I modulus by 2 is equal to 0, basically we are finding the even number or the odd number. Console.log I. So I modulus 0. If this is true, continue. And console.log I. Okay. So here the first mod is not equal to 0. Hence we are printing the console.log I. If it's 2 equal to 0, it's true. Continue. Which means that skip over the 2. Next is 3, 5 and 7. Okay. In this example, we will use the continue statement in a while loop. If I is equal to 0, while I less than 11, I plus plus. Okay. If I moduled by 2 is equal to 0, continue. Okay. Okay, we are doing the same thing. Actually, what was the difference? We are using for loop here and while loop here. Okay. Okay, no worries. Let's have a few quiz over continuous statement as well. What does the continuous statement do in JavaScript? It skips the iteration and continues with the next iteration. What it does is B. True or false? The continuous statement can only be used in for loops. No. Can be used in any form of loop. Next, in what scenario you might use a continue loop in statement? If we want to skip only certain scenarios and want to continue over. Which of the following statement about continuous statements true? It can only be used, it affects only nearest in closing loop. It can be used to exit a function. Only B will be true. Using continue inside a nested loop affects only the inner loop. Yes. True. What would be the output of following code snippet? If I is equal to 1 and I is less than 5 or equal to 5, then increment the I. And if I is equal to 3, then continue console.log I. Following directive says that if I is equal to 3, do not print I and just skip over it. So the output would be 1, 2, 4, 5. the uh, output will not be printed if I is equal to I equals to 3. I think that's the exactly. Good. What will happen if you use continue without any condition or inside a loop? I think C would be answer. It will skip every iteration. Good. And if a continuous statement can be used with labels in JavaScript? JavaScript, we know that the break statement can be used with labels. Whether it is true or not for continue, I don't know. Can be used with labels, allowing it to specify which loop to continue if you have. Okay, continue outer loop. Okay, I need to copy this. The contestant can be which. Okay, copy it. Short answer. Can you explain a scenario where using continue might improve the code readability or efficiency? Example. With example. After taking this example, here after labeling the continue the code becomes readable. And in this scenario we only got 9 questions and we done almost every of them correctly. Time to move to next one. Time to throw some statements. Throw and try. In JavaScript, errors can be thrown using throw statement to indicate an exceptional condition. The try block is used to wrap code might throw an error, and the catch blocks handles the error, preventing the program from crashing and allowing graceful error management. All the errors can be solved and do have to 5 statement that will now be explained. The try statement will test a block, catch statement will handle the error if there are any present. The throw will make you or own errors. Finally, statement will execute code after try and catch, and the finally blocks runs regardless of the result of try catch. For example, try. First, it will alert welcome fellow geek, and if there is error, it will log an error because a DAD alert is not a predefined function in JavaScript, so we have to define it. And here we haven't defined it, so we are getting an error. DAD alert is not defined. Next, in the function geek function, a is assigned 10. Try console.log value of variable a is this a. Then catch e. E stands for event in JavaScript. So console.log error plus which the description of the event. The catch block will not run as there are no error in the above code. Hence we get the output value of variable is stay. Okay. Despite writing the catch block, this will not run unless there is an error in the function execution. which is a good thing that you are not getting any form of error. Now let's move to another. Try and catch block. The try statement allows you to check whether the specific block of code contains an error or not. The catch statement allows you to display the error, if any, found in the try block. Try block for catch for errors, catch error, block display to display error. Okay. JavaScript throws block the throw statement. When the error occurs, JavaScript will stop and generate an error message. The throw statement let you create your own custom error. Throw new error, yeah, sorry. Error, yeah, sorry. Good. The finally statement runs unconditionally after the execution of try catch block, even if the code runs successful or the code throws an error. And I am certain that I will be needing few quiz from this. Multiple choice question. What keyword is used to throw an exception manually in JavaScript? Throw an exception manually in JavaScript. Obviously, throw. First is B. Second is true or false. A try block must always be followed by a catch block. Yes. Third is okay. I should have written true here, like a true programmer. And finally, describe the purpose of a try catch block in JavaScript. The purpose of try catch block. Mm, gracefully exiting the program if some error occur. Great job. Correct, true, and right track. Handle exceptions, allowing program to continue running or exit gracefully without crashing. Okay, next. Next set of question are, what happens if error occur inside a try block and there is no catch block to handle it? The program will terminate with an error message. The program will continue. The error will be ignored, or the program will automatically retry. It won't automatically retry the operation. The error will not be ignored and program will not run. So the only answer remains is B. Next, 5. The finally block will execute regardless of whether an error occurred in try block. Yes, बिल्कुल सही है. It would be true. And answer for the 6 would be, what is the difference between a catch block and a finally block in a try catch finally statement? What difference between a catch block? Okay. Catch only runs when there is error. Finally runs regardless of the result of try and catch. Excellent work. Correct, true, and exactly. Let's continue with few more questions. Multiple choice. Which of the following is the correct way to define a try catch block in JavaScript? Try catch, try catch, try catch. Try catch error. I think B would be correct. For 7, I would like to go with B. For 8, true or false, you can have multiple catch block for a single try block. Yes, I can. And for 9th, short answer would be, what type of error would you typically handle using try catch block? fetching crucial data from API. अगर मैं API से कुछ fetch कर रहा हूँ, if I would be fetching some important data in API, I would use catch statement to provide some what you can say placeholder to gracefully show the error. Let's see. Correct answer. Truly, exactly. You are nailing this. And finally, we have a few more questions. What is the purpose of throw statement? To create custom error, to exit a function, to return a value from a function. So we are not returning anything from throw. We can certainly create custom errors. So I would go with B for the question number 10. Question number 11. True or false? It is possible to throw any type of value using the throw statement. I can certainly say that we can output any kind of value. Try, catch, throw. We can output any kind of value using catch statement, but not with throw statement. Let's see. You tell me. And finally, for 12, can you explain what custom error is and how you might create one in JavaScript? Custom errors are created using throw. These are statements to specific responses. Let's see. Nice job again. Correct. The purpose of throw is to create custom error. True, you can throw any type of value such as string, object or number using throw statement, which allows for flexibility in error handling. And custom errors are user defined error, provide specific information about an issue. You might create one using error constructor or a custom constructor class. Okay. Let's wrap up with couple more questions. MCQ. Which of the following is common way to log error in a catch block function? Console.log, alert or document.write? Console.log would be for an 13. Console.log would be the standard method. For question number 14, you can try catch to handle asynchronous error. Yes, so it would be true. And for 15, I'm gonna write what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous error handling in JavaScript. We already know what is synchronous mean and asynchronous mean, but in context of error handling, please can you please tell me difference between those in context of error handling. No problem. A console.log is a command to log error and catch error. You can use catchbook to handle asynchronous error, though it's more complex with promise and async await. Asynchronous errors can be caught directly in a catch block statement. The code executes line by line. If an error occurs, the catch block can handle it immediately. Asynchronous error handling. In asynchronous code, like using promises or async await, errors are not caught in the same way. With promises, you typically use .catch method to handle error. Okay. For async await, you can still use try catch, but it's important to remember if an error occur inside a promise, it won't be catched by surrounding catch unless you are awaiting that promise. I'm not getting it. Synchronous. Try. Throw new error. Okay. Catch an event, which is console.log event.message. Now time for asynchronous. Async async function. Okay. Try. Await. Wait for the promise to reject. New error. Async error. Actually, we can skip it for now because we haven't learned about the promises yet. So I can safely skip it because we are certainly going to study promise, another thing that comes along with promise are async and await. So we are going to learn async and await and promise in our future web pages. So we don't need to worry about it right now. I can safely skip to the next chapter, which was error handling and if else statement. We already seen if else, switch statement, try catch statement. I can certainly proceed to loop section. But before proceeding to loop section, I will having a hydration break. So I certainly advise you guys to please drink ample amount of water as before continuing this video. Pausing the video for a single minute. I am very sorry guys, my 2 minute session becomes 20 minutes of session because I just have had a meal and I was almost trying to set a reminder for some rest. But my curiosity to complete this video wake me rises from the bed, and with my bottles here in my studio, I am back in order to complete the video. And I make sure and I hope that you also guys hydrated between the while. So let's continue the loop. JS for loop. The JavaScript for loop is a control flow statement that allows code to be executed repeatedly based on a condition. It consists of three parts: initialization, condition, increment or decrement. This loop iterates over a code block until the specified condition is flawed. We already quite familiar with the for loop, so I am very sure that it will pass in very few minutes or seconds. The visualization of a loop is a great thing to study. So here the loop is initialized, condition checking is done. If it is true, the increment or decrement that we want to do with loop, it happens, and if it falls, the loop cancels out. So in this function, where x is equal to 2, here we are not specifying any conditions here. If x is less than or equal to 4, increment the x, console.log x plus x. The value of x is 2, the value of x is 3, and value of x is 4. And if x is equal to 4, x should be incremented to 1, and until, I think this will be the cancellation or the exit statement. If x is less than or equal to 4, only then. If x become 4, terminate the loop. Testing condition. This statement checks the boolean value of the testing condition. If the testing condition is true, the for loop will execute further, otherwise loop will end and the loop outside the code outside the loop will be executed. It is executed every time for the loop runs before the loop enters its body. Let x equal to 2. For x, just increment the x and break. Here the value of x plus x. So we have already declared x here and we are just incrementing the x. and just in its first iteration, it is just breaking the loop. So we are only getting the first value as output. Next is updating counter variable. We have subjects like math, science, politics, history. I, which stands for commonly stands for index. Length is subjects dot length. It is dot length method which defines the maximum things in an array. Suppose 0, 1, 2 and 3. So the length is equal to 3. And let GFG. GFG is empty string. We have defined GFG as gig for gig, which stands for this channel name is an empty string here in the variable. If I is less than the length of the book, then what we are going to do? We are just adding the subjects in the empty string. So first we added maths, then science, then politics, then history. Okay. For loop, while loop, do while loop, for off loop, for in loop. Okay. Let's play quiz. How can you break out of a nested loop in JavaScript? 1 का C. Of 1, it's C. Of second, the break statement in JavaScript can exit only the innermost. Yes, true. Third, describe roughly how would you break a break statement, and finally, what happens if you break statement without a label? I think only 4 is the interesting question that I find here. And what is the 5? Can you explain why using a label with break statement sometimes is necessary in nested loop? So the 4 and 5 are only the necessary things that I need to answer. Um, which case? 4. What will happen without a label? I think 4 would be D. It continues the next iteration of the outer loop. And the answer for the 5 would be, can explain why using a label with the break statement is sometimes necessary in nested loop. Clearly identify the outermost loop. Correct, incorrect. Okay, the break statement is indeed the right way to exit a loop. Incorrect, the answer is false. The break statement can exist the inner loop, but with a label it can also exit outermost loop. Okay, here I learned a new thing about break statement. Your answer describes the break statement role in switch case, but it's focused on loop. A more specific response would be mentioned that the break statement is used to exit the current loop when a certain condition is met. Okay. Okay. The exit the innermost loop. The break statement without a label. Okay, we can replace the text here with this. The break statement without a label will only break out of the loop in which it is called. But with a label, It can also exit the outermost loop. Yeah, outer loop. Using a label with breaks can help you which outer loop to exit when working with nested loop. Okay. Now let's finish the question answer session. Move to next. Do while loop. A do while loop in a JavaScript is a control structure where the code executes repeatedly based on given Boolean condition and is similar to repeating if statement. The only difference is that a do while loop guarantees that the code block will execute at least once, regardless of whether the condition is met initially or not. Okay. And here there are two kinds of loop in it: entry controlled, exit controlled. The difference between do while and while loop is that it is guaranteed to do while loop will run at least once, whereas while loop will not run even once if the condition is not satisfied. And this is how JavaScript becomes my favorite programming language. We have an exceptional rule for an exception. When we want to test something, which I'm sure that it will not be true, but still there's a method called do while loop. Next, we can see that even condition is not satisfied in do while loop, it still runs once, but in case of while loop the condition is checked before entering loop. Let's compare the while and do while loop. Entry controlled, exit controlled, number of iterations till at least one, the iteration depend on condition. The code block is controlled at end, the block of code is controlled at starting. Okay. Note, when we are writing condition for the loop, we should always add a code that terminates the code, otherwise the loop will always be true and browser will crash. Okay, okay, okay. Do while loop. Let's quiz around do while loop. Stay log out. How does a do while loop differ with a while loop? The answer would be A. Runs at least once. Second is, in a do while loop, the loop body will always execute at least once, regardless of the condition's initial value. Yes. Answer for the third example, you might. What would be the scenario? So I need to use the do while loop. When creating a landing page model, if we want it to pop up as soon as user visit the website. Good example. Good example. Correct, correct. Next, which of the following is correct syntax for a do while loop in JavaScript? Do while loop in JavaScript. Do while. Do while. Do while. Do while. I think A would be the right answer. For the question number 4, I am going with A. The question number 5, true or false? If a condition is do while loop is evaluated before the execution of a loop body, condition in do while loop is evaluated before the execution of loop body. No, false. Condition is evaluated at the last in do while scenario. And for the answer number 6, what will happen if the condition in a do while loop is always true? 6. It will lead to infinite loop. Infinite loop. Correct, correct, correct. Output for the following code snippet: if I is equal to 0, we are declaring I is equal to 0. Console.log I, then increment the I until I is less than 3. So the console log will print I equal to 0, I equal to 1, and I equal to 2. As soon as I reach 3, if I is equal to I becomes 3, I must have to be less than 1 in order to be printed. So the answer would be A. For 8, a do while loop can have multiple statements inside its code block. Yes. And for 9th, can you use a break statement inside a do while loop? True. Correct, correct, correct. And on 10, what happens if you omit a condition in do while loop? Omit a condition means if we do not declare any condition, the loop will run indefinitely. So the answer for the 10 would be B. 11 would be a do while loop will iterate over an array. Yes, it can be used. And for 12, describe a scenario that might not be the best choice for looping. When you want something to not run at least. Yes. Single time. Okay. The question is overflowing. So we are just answering this question because this just caught my eye. This question, this one. Short answer. What would be the result of the following code snippet? If x equal to 5, do x decrement while x more than 0. Okay. So the print would be there will be no console log. Yes, there is console log x. What would be the answer? Do it is saying to decrement the x as long as x is equal to 0, and the loop will continue, and the console.log will print the x is equal to 0. I think the x is equal to 0. Correct. Time to switch to while loop. while a condition, a code block to be executed. Do while loop. We have already seen, and we are just hovering over it. There is nothing new to be learned here. So we are proceeding to the for in loop. For in over a numeral object of objects, allowing you to access each key property name. It's commonly used to traverse object, but also used with array. For I in I, print all keys in object one on console. Okay. 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 First course, second course, third course. Const student one is equal to object dot create courses. Hmm. Student one dot id is equal to 123. Student first name is equal to Prakhar. Show enrolled courses. Function console.log courses. ID is 123. Here ID is 123. Just we defined. The first name is Prakhar. Here we defining. Show enroll courses outputs a function that is console.log courses and iterating for properties in student one console.log properties. Okay. First course, second course, third course. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Primary purpose of for in loop in JavaScript to iterate over the elements of an array, to iterate over the properties of an object, to execute a specified number of time, to create a new function. I think all of the above. To iterate over the property of an object. Execute a block of code a specified number of time. This time I am going to go with 1. A and B. Let's see. A for in loop is used to iterate over the elements of an array in the same way it iterates over the object properties. The for in loop can be used to iterate over the elements of an array. Elements of an array in the same way it iterates over the object properties. Yes, it's kind of true. Syntax for a for in loop. For let I in object 1. Condition, not condition, task. or let key in object. Okay, key A, B, C. Hence B would be the answer. Using the for in loop, you can modify the properties of an object during iteration. Can we modify the property? Yes, we can. Potential downside of using for iterating over arrays in JavaScript. What will happen? Here we have just responded. Iterate over inherited properties. It may iterate over inherited properties. I don't know what does it mean, but certainly GPT will tell. Which of the following will prevent a foreign loop from iterating over an inherited properties? I think using a different loop type can certainly help. Be using the as own property method. I just check properties belong to object itself and it's not prototyped in them. It's a new thing that I learned. Using has own property, and I think I have used this has own property symbol. Has own property symbol is a method you can retrieve all the symbol properties. Okay. The for in loop used to iterate both enumerable and non false. Lane. In JavaScript, object can inherit properties and method from their prototype. In this means that when you use a loop like for in to iterate over an object, you might also get properties of the object that does not directly own but inherits its prototype. The has own property method is a built-in method available on all JavaScript objects. It checks for the object has specified properties as its own, not inherited. Object is own property, I am own. Inherit property, I am inherited. Set property of object in other. Let key in object. Outputs own prop, inherited prop. Okay. Okay. Own prop. मतलब इस which means that in this scenario own prop is going to output if we put the word object dot has own property in key for key in object. The object we are referencing is this object. Okay. Foreign iterates over the both own property and objects inherited property from in the second loop using has on property key ensures that the only prop is logged, effectively filtering out any uninherited properties. So you can simply iterate over that belongs to the file. Okay. Object.set prototype of OPG. Only line that bugged me is this. Object.set property of object proto is a method used to set the prototype, also known as internal prototype property of a specified to another object or null. This allows you to define inheritance and share properties methods between object. How it works? Object. The object whose prototype you want to change. Okay. And proto. The object that you want obj to inherit from. Okay. Okay. Has own property. Has inherited property. Okay. And it will automatically be cleared as soon we proceed to our further subsequent chapters. Or in music, what we can say is subsequent passages. I think we also use these words in literature as well. Subsequent passages. Okay. JavaScript for off loops is a modern iteration statement introduced in ECMAScript 2015 ES6. It allows developer to iterate over iterable objects such as array, strings, maps, sets, and more. It provides a simpler syntax compared to traditional for loops. What is the for off loop? For off loop iterates over a value of an iterable object, which is different uh, from the for in loop that iterates over innumerable object. Okay. Okay, it iterates over the values, and the for in loop was iterating over uh, key, key or property name. Okay. Okay, 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 okay. Iterating over an array using a for off loop. Code initializes the array with value 105. Item of array. Okay. Iterating over a string for char of a string. Okay. New map. Maps are a new data structure that stores key value pair. The for off loop can be used to iterate over the data over the entries of a map. Okay. Set is another new data structure that stores unique values. You can use for off loop to iterate over the element of a set. Okay. We have to study few things about map in JS. ये हमें पढ़ना होगा. We have to study it. Iterating over an object property is using for off loop. While the for off loop is not directly used to iterate over object properties, you can use it to combine with object.keys, object.values, object.entries to achieve it. Let key of object.keys person key Akash. Okay, object.keys, values or entries. Let ask ChatGPT about the difference between for off and for each loop. Chat. I'm gonna pin this tab. Okay, stay logged out. Explain the difference between for off and for in loop in JS. Time to hydrate. Const element array 1 2 3. I hope now it is visible to all you guys. For in loop. Address over enum keys of an object. Okay. Key in object. Object dot key. Okay. Key or objects in key. Okay. For of iterates over values, elements of an iterable. For in iterates over the keys of an object. The mainly dictionary kind of structure. Okay. Use case. For of when you want to work with values of an array or any other iterable. For in when you want to loop through the properties of an object. Okay. Array behavior. For in and we used to use an array, but it may not yield same elements in a predictable order and can also iterate over properties added to the array prototype. It's generally recommended to use for of for a standard for loop for arrays. Okay. Okay. I'm very sorry. Let's play quiz. Which statement best describes the for of loop in JavaScript? It iterates over the properties. For of loops, no, it doesn't. It iterates over the values. B. Of. Key. Okay. We have just seen the use of object.keys method. Where Yes. That's false. Is specifically designed for iterable objects like array, string sets, but does not work on to iterate or use the for in loop or method like object dot keys. Okay, next. Key of object dot keys person. Okay, difference between map versus object. Can explain the syntax of a for of loop. For I in for I of let I of array task. Time to switch to next chapter. JS labeled statement. JavaScript label statement is used to label a block of code. A labeled statement can be used to with loops and control flow statement to provide a target for break and continue statement. Label statement block of code. Label a unique string that used to define the names of a block or loop block. Okay, statement exemplify the label. Outer loop, a label for outer loop. While true, okay. A label for inner loop. Break outer loop, okay. We have already learned that the JavaScript only breaks. Okay, okay, okay. While a is less than 3 plus a if sum is less than. Let's understand this code first. So here we are defining two variables. First is sum and second is a equal to 1. So in the outer loop, we are just labeling the outer loop as outer loop. Basically, we are naming the outer loop, okay? And the outer loop, which stands for true as long as a is equal to 1. Here a is equal to 1. Inner loop says that while a is less than 3, sum is equal to a, so this will be revalued to 1. Okay, this sum will basically add up to a, so 0 plus 1 will equals to 1. And if sum is more than 12, then only break the outer loop. And we have to in the outer loop, actually the inner loop ends here. So outer loop a is equal to 1, console.log, after running this console.log sum is equal to sum, it's an concatenation of a string, so sum is equal to plus sum, which is 1. Increment the a, so a becomes true, and outer loop is equal to true, a is equal to 1. So why we are redefining the a is equal to 1? I think it is the game of scopes. Here it is defined in global scope, and here in this, but it's not a function, but it's a block indeed. I think we should study this code, this block of code, using ChatGPT by opening a new chat. Asking it if there is something related to scope of the variable a here in the code. So value between the iteration inside the outer loop a is reset to 1 at the start of each iteration. However, in the inner loop, we encrypt the 8 until it reaches 3. Okay, yes, I was right. We have to do something with the scope. The variable a is declared outside both loops, so it retains its value between iteration of each outer loop. So the a still equals to 1. Inside the outer loop, a is reset to 1 at the start of each iteration. However, if the inner loop runs multiple times, it will increment a until it reaches 3. Okay. So here the increment of a happens until it reaches 3. And here is the output of 3. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12. But how? It indeed a bummer. The inner loop continues as a is less than 3. It increments the a after each iteration. Okay. The sum is updated with the updated value of a in each iteration of the loop, breaking the outer loop. Terminate run. Okay. Inner loop. While a is less than 3, this adds the current value to sum. Okay. अगर sum ज़्यादा if sum is more than 12, then breaks the outer loop. Loop will be breaked. Adding please, so it won't kill me after it becomes alive. Okay, break out of this loop from the inner loop. Okay, updating some. A is set to 1. Entering the loop, A is updated to sum is updated to 1. The current sum of 1 is locked and A is incremented to 2. Okay. The second iteration of loop, the sum is updated to 3 and the current sum 3 is locked. A is incremented to 3. The third inner exit loop, and now A is no longer less than 3, so the inner loop ends. Next iteration of outer loop, A is reset to 1 again. The inner loop starts, sum is updated to 4. Okay, and 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. Okay. The current sum is 4 is locked and A is incremented to 2. Sum is updated to 6. As 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. The current sum is 6 is locked. A is incremented to 3. Okay. Okay. Now I have understood a little bit. Mm. I think I should navigate this using as long as sum is less than 12. We start with resetting the A to 1. And as long as A is less than 3, we are incrementing or adding this sum with A. So in first iteration, we are going to add 1 to 0, then it answers as 1 and A resets to 1. And if A is equals to 2 and sum less than 0, continue overload, which means to skip the characters. And next iteration, sum is equal to 2. But still sum is not less, sum is less than 12. Continue to A resets to 1 again. Okay. Oh, 1. I need to understand this coda block with ChatGPT as well. GPT is such a boon. Let me check again. No, we are almost at the end of our loop. We are studying the JavaScript level statement. Okay, we are on this level statement. Okay. Okay, okay. Only these two things are bugging me very hard. Okay, I will get back to it again. Saving these two snippets for future. JavaScript. The first code. And the second code. Thank you for this suspenseful ending. I will, after starting or before starting the next video, I will certainly reiterate over these loops and see you in the next one. See you. Bye. Bye bye.